Welcome to Book Summarist. In today's video, we'll explore the groundbreaking ideas from The Courage to be Disliked by Ichiro Kishimi and Fumite Koga, a book that has sparked a global conversation about happiness, self-acceptance, and freedom. Have you ever felt trapped by your past, held back by societal expectations, or burdened by the need for approval? What if we told you that none of these things actually control your happiness, and that you have the courage to live freely and authentically? The Courage to be Disliked presents the revolutionary philosophy of Alfred Adler, an Austrian psychologist, through a Socratic dialogue between a philosopher and a young man. The book challenges the deeply ingrained beliefs that our past or circumstances determine our happiness. Instead, it offers a liberating perspective. Happiness is a choice, and we can break free from self-imposed limitations by embracing personal responsibility, rejecting the need for approval, and focusing on contributing to others. Through a series of enlightening conversations, the book delves into topics such as interpersonal relationships, self-worth, and the true meaning of freedom. Let's dive into this thought-provoking narrative, chapter by chapter. Chapter 1: Denying Trauma. The young man begins by questioning whether people can truly change. He believes that past experiences, especially traumatic ones, shape who we are. The philosopher, however, challenges this view by introducing one of Adler's most radical ideas. The past does not define the present. The philosopher explains, people are not driven by past causes but by present goals. In other words, we choose our behaviors and emotions to achieve certain objectives, whether consciously or unconsciously. This concept shifts the focus from being victims of our past to being creators of our present. For example, someone who claims to be shy might actually be avoiding the fear of rejection. Their shyness serves a purpose to protect them from potential pain. The philosopher urges the young man to confront this truth and take responsibility for his choices. Chapter 2: All problems are interpersonal. Relationship problems. The philosopher asserts that every problem we face stems from our relationships with others. Whether it's conflict, envy, or feelings of inferiority, these issues arise from comparing ourselves to others or seeking their approval. You are not living to satisfy other people's expectations, the philosopher states. Instead, true freedom comes from separating yourself from the judgments and opinions of others. This principle, called the separation of tasks, teaches us to focus only on what is within our control, our own actions and decisions. The young man struggles with this idea, arguing that we need validation to feel worthy. The philosopher counters by saying that seeking approval is a form of self-betrayal. You must not live your life to fulfill others' expectations. Chapter 3: The feeling of inferiority is subjective. Inferiority complexes are a central theme in Adlerian psychology. The philosopher explains that feelings of inferiority are not inherently bad. They can motivate us to grow and improve. However, problems arise when we allow these feelings to define us or use them as excuses to avoid challenges. No one is inferior or superior to anyone else. We are all equal as human beings. Instead of comparing ourselves to others, we should adopt a horizontal relationship perspective, treating everyone as equals and focusing on self-improvement rather than competition. The philosopher adds, the only person you need to surpass is the person you were yesterday. This perspective empowers the young man to redirect his energy from envy or self-pity toward meaningful progress in his own life. Chapter 4: The Courage to be Disliked. The young man expresses his fear of being disliked if he stops seeking approval. The philosopher acknowledges that this fear is natural, but insists that true freedom requires the courage to face it. To be free, you must have the courage to be disliked. This principle doesn't mean being inconsiderate or selfish. Rather, it's about living authentically, guided by your own values rather than others' opinions. The philosopher emphasizes the importance of self-acceptance. Your worth is not determined by others. You are worthy simply because you exist. He elaborates that when we base our self-worth on external validation, we become enslaved to other people's expectations. True courage is the willingness to risk rejection while staying true to ourselves. Chapter 5. Happiness is contribution. The philosopher introduces the concept of community feeling, which is the sense of belonging and contributing to the greater good. Happiness, he argues, comes not from pursuing self-interest, but from being of service to others. The greatest joy in life is the feeling that you are of use to someone else. He clarifies that this contribution doesn't have to be grand. Even small acts of kindness and support can create meaningful connections and a sense of purpose. The young man begins to see that fulfillment lies in building relationships based on mutual respect and cooperation rather than competition or self-centered goals. Chapter 6. The meaning of life is in the here and now. Many people postpone happiness, believing it will come once they achieve certain goals. The philosopher debunks this notion, urging the young man to live fully in the present. The past is gone, and the future is uncertain. The only time you can live is now. He explains that life is a series of moments, and finding meaning requires embracing each moment with intention and gratitude. By focusing on the here and now, we can free ourselves from the weight of regret and the anxiety of future uncertainty. The young man reflects on this idea, realizing that his fixation on external achievements has distracted him from appreciating the present. Happiness isn't a destination, the philosopher reminds him. It's the journey. The courage to be disliked is a profound guide to reclaiming your freedom, happiness, and authenticity. By denying the power of past trauma, embracing personal responsibility, and focusing on contributing to others, we can lead fulfilling lives free from the constraints of societal expectations. As the philosopher says, happiness is not something you attain, it is something you choose. The journey to happiness and freedom begins with courage, the courage to be disliked. Thank you for watching this summary of the courage to be disliked. If you enjoyed this video, don't miss our next one on Ikigai, the Japanese secret to a long and happy life. Subscribe to Book Samaris for more inspiring lessons from life-changing books.